Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Wellington. The time is 7 o'clock in the morning over here. It's somewhat damp outside, but thanks very much for joining us on www.scottishrugby.org and also the RBS Facebook account. It's great to know that you're watching back home in Scotland. I'm delighted this morning to be joined by two greats. We've got on my far right Gregor Townsend, Scotland's attack coach and 83 capped player. And inside Gregor, we've got Kelly Brown, Scotland's number 8. And Kelly's in fine form this morning, if somewhat sleepy after an early start.
Tired, but
good morning, boys.
Good to be here.
Good morning.
I'll maybe start with some questions that have come in. We've got James from Aberdeen. James's question, which was sent through on Twitter, asks, how are the boys settling into Wellington after the move up from Invercargill? Gregor, maybe to you first.
Well, they're loving it. I think Invercargill was a great introduction to New Zealand. People were fantastic. The reception we got at the airport and then right throughout the stay was great. But it's been a nice coming to Wellington, a big city, lots to do. The weather's been great the first 2 days we've been here. And to get the buzz of a rugby city, the game here last night, South Africa Fiji, so there's a lot of supporters. And now an opportunity for about 8 or 9 days for our next game. So good preparation time.
And Kelly, for you, Invercargill was a fine way to start the trip.
Yeah, I think it was a fantastic way to start. The people down there were very, very friendly, but I think it's also good to come up here and feel the buzz in the city. I know that some of the guys have been down to the fan zone, and the whole city is really getting very excited about the World Cup.
Maybe to take you back, the team have been together now for a number of months, and there's been a lot of hard work in terms of preparation before even getting to this point. Greg, do you want to give a bit of a flavour of when the team came together and what was involved back in Scotland before heading off?
Yeah, well, the players are playing Glasgow and Edinburgh came together at the end of June, and then the rest of them met up just a couple of weeks after that. So that's been a long time as a squad. It's been a fantastic opportunity as a coach to work with the players on the skill development. You don't often get that opportunity during the Six Nations, the build-up to November test. So it's been hard work, but from day one we said we'd be working with a rugby ball. We've done skill development alongside the strength and conditioning work we need to do in pre-season. And even though it's been tough, I'm sure Kelly will say it's been enjoyable. And we've certainly seen the benefits. Our players have improved during that period, and it's all been the focus about winning games, so we're off to a great start.
And you mentioned winning games with 2 pre-season friendlies, if you can call them those, against Ireland and Italy, and we got off to good starts with wins over both. Kelly, how did you find the training camp back in Scotland?
Yeah, I think as Gregor said, the camp in Scotland, it was tough, but as a player, you don't mind doing a lot of hard work if you get to actually play with the ball a bit. So I think as a player, to have the skills, the development running alongside the fitness stuff, it made the pre-season camp very. I'm not sure fun's the word, but it was certainly a good camp.
One of the big challenges, I guess, with a World Cup year is that you spend a lot of time away from your family, and we've had a number of questions in here from supporters on Facebook and indeed from Twitter asking, how do you cope with being away from family? It's a big sacrifice for the families to allow you boys to head off and train and play.
Yes, it certainly is, especially because I'm now down at Saracens, so in the pre-season camp I was away quite a lot as well. But the thing that really saves you is Skype. So I've been Skyping sort of twice a day and speaking to my wife and kids that way.
So Skype's really working for you, and Gregor, you've got family back home, of course, as well. As you managing to keep in touch?
Yeah, Skype's been great. It was tougher when we were in Australia just to catch up with the kids before they go to the bedtime. I was given a Harry Potter book by my 9-year-old that was almost finished, 3/4 of the way through. So I've been up early to do a couple of pages every morning just before they go to bed. So that's been a great touch. And what a difference in tours that I used to go as a player, where you'd be phoning home, it would cost you a fortune, and now it costs you nothing, and you can see your family. They take a laptop up to the bed, so just before going to sleep, you have a little chat with them. So it's been great.
It's a really interesting point. You spoke about how the World Cups have changed over the years. Clearly, you've been involved with a number yourself. And one of the questions that came in on Facebook from Louise was, how has the World Cup changed in your eyes, Gregor, over recent years?
I saw the big change between 1999 and 2003. 99, and we were based in Scotland. We played all the games at Murrayfield. The scheduling, the ticket pricing wasn't great. It was still a huge sporting event, but they hadn't made it as slick as they should have. And then going into Australia in 2003, it was just what a proper tournament like the Football World Cup or the Olympic Games should be. And this is just like it. The supporters there, Kelly mentioned the fan zones. There's a real buzz. The world's media are here. And the standard of rugby is fantastic. I think that the guys that hadn't experienced the World Cup before would have thought, it's going to be a similar tournament to the Six Nations. Six Nations is a great tournament, but all the best rugby players are here, and everybody's focus is to do as well as they can. And we saw that game last night, Ireland and Australia. It's really a massive tournament. You can see what it meant to the Irish to get that win.
Just talking about New Zealand, I mean, having a World Cup in New Zealand is a pretty special feeling, I think, for all the players, Kelly.
Yeah, it certainly is. The thing I find here is that you go out on the street and all the people you meet love rugby. They have an opinion about rugby, and they'll certainly tell you their opinion. But it's great to be in a country playing in a World Cup that has just got so much passion for the game.
It's interesting you mentioned that. Gary Marling had sent a question in from Facebook, and Gary asked, was Invercargill really like a second home?
Yes, it was. We went out and you'd be just sort of walking up a street and you'd have people stopping you for photos, and we got there and we had a fantastic reception from the mayor. He's quite an interesting character, but he actually came in and did a stand-up show for the boys, which went down so well, and we very much enjoyed our time there.
You spoke about the mayor. I'll maybe come on to you in a second, Gregor, but there was some suggestion within the camp that people were beginning to really take to the mayor in a big way and practicing his accent and mimicking him. Did that happen?
Anybody here could do an impression?
I think a couple of guys did, but
nobody here.
Nobody here. He's a mayor, you can't.
He's not going to be tuning in this morning.
You can't see the mic. Now, well, in my opinion, he was a very, very funny man, and he was a real life Sir Les Patterson. I'm not sure if anyone's seen some of his stuff, but he was just a real life version of him.
And a huge supporter, really friendly, really open, and extremely keen to support Scotland. And I think that was great because we arrived in the city and we were welcomed from the get-go. We got to the airport, Gregor, and there was hundreds at the airport to meet us.
Yeah, and we'd come in late. We'd spent some time on the Gold Coast before coming to New Zealand, and we were the last team in. And I remember coming off the plane, and it was really quiet just before you get into the airport, and we're thinking, I wonder what the reception's going to be. We've heard some teams have a lot of people there waiting, other teams not many. And then suddenly you turn around the corner and hundreds of people there with bagpipes playing, kilts on. So Scots that have travelled, there's so many out from Scotland are out here following us right throughout the tournament to people out with Scottish heritage. And from there, right the way through to our Maori welcome, and then at the games, it was great. It was great, fantastic to see all the flags at the game, the saltires flying. So we had a great time in Invercargill.
One of the questions which has come in from Ellen Boomer on Facebook is, what do you think has been one of the highlights of your trip so far? And Kelly and Greg, you both spoke about the welcome in Invercargill. There's a special moment with the cap ceremony, the marae.
Oh yeah, we went in and got a very passionate, very intense Maori welcome, and then we went up to the marae, and the sort of senior spokesman spoke, and they sang us a song, and it was certainly the first time I had ever seen anything like that, and it was a great experience.
It's an extraordinary location and quite a sort of spiritual location in many respects, and they seem to get a lot of warmth from the players. The players responded to their song by singing as well. Kelly, is that right?
Yeah, well, we were certainly very keen to do something back. So the whole squad sang Caledonia, and it seemed to go down very, very well. And it was just they had shown us such sort of passion and such warmth in their welcome, and we wanted to respond in kind.
I think Kelly's been modest there. when he says the whole squad sang Caledonia.
Well, the whole
it was
squad
Kelly,
mumbled along, and
Kelly and Ewan led the way, and the response that they had, I think they said it's the first time that people have been able to have applause in the Marais, so they loved the fact that our singing was at a high level, but it was all Kelly and Ewan. We were mumbling in behind.